have been nice. Okay. I was just going to say it would have been nice to end on a...
Welcome to the Immersive Lens, the podcast exploring the technologies reshaping how we live, work, and learn.
From AI and virtual reality to creative media and design, we're diving into the tools and ideas shaping our connected world.
Join us as we uncover the people and ideas driving the next wave of interactive experiences.
This is the Immersive Lens.
My name is Paul Engin, professor of new media at Finger Lakes Community College.
And I'm Dave Ghidiu, professor of computing sciences here at FLCC.
Today's episode, we're going to be asking the question, is AI a dirty word?
And by AI, I assume you mean artificial intelligence?
Yes.
And you're saying, well, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing, or is it a double-edged sword?
Absolutely. I think it's a great question that I'm eager to get your point of view on.
All right. Well, before we get going, what's been going on? Have you done anything interesting?
Actually, a few weeks ago, I went to dinner at Julia's here at FLCC.
What's dinner at Julia's?
So the business department, specifically to culinary and hospitality, they put together a 5-course meal, and I believe it's their capstone. So students will work the front end, like getting everything ready, serving, and then the back end as well for all obviously cooking all the foods. And then they have professors Patrick Ray and Jamie Rauter in the back of the house. Is that the right term?
Yeah, that's the right term.
That's the right term.
I worked at Olive Garden for 6 weeks. I know these terms.
Just managing the kitchen, and then Paula Knight is on the front of the house. Just managing to make sure the tables are set, make sure that they're coming, and doing all the waters and all everything you would expect in the restaurant. It's pretty amazing, and I can tell you, they have the best bread. It's amazing.
Hey, you keep raving about the bread and the dip.
It is. I'm telling you. I had multiple helpings.
Is it every Friday night?
I believe it is in the fall, but you can go to www.flcc.edu/restaurant, and you can, read a little bit more about it. And you can also make reservations at julia@flcc.edu. So if they want to find out more, they can go to the website and explore. And yeah, it's a great event. Definitely would recommend it.
And if you do go, let us know how you like the dip in the bread.
Yeah, right. Oh, the other thing that they do is they serve the wine that is...
from the viticulture program here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the wine actually has, not only is it created here, but the labels that are on the wine are created by graphic design students here as well. So
I love just the collaboration between all the departments here.
Yeah, it's really good. Now you have to buy the wine separate. They don't serve it, so it's I don't know.
Sold. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And fun fact: did you know the grapes for the viticulture program are grown at Anthony Road Vineyard, which is on Seneca Lake, and Ann Martini, who's Ann and John are the co-owners of that winery. She's an alum of the college.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
It all comes back to FLCC.
I know. How do you know these things? This is like...
our reach here at the college is far and wide and durable.
Yes. So have you been up to anything?
Yeah, we hosted Todd McLeese, who's a national trainer in AI, and he came in for National Manufacturing Month of October. He came in and worked with probably about 30 or 40 companies we had in here. We had a full day, and he did a presentation and some workshop-y stuff, and we had a great lunch, which we didn't have dip and bread, but Jenny, who works in the dining facilities here, made the absolute best muffins I've ever had. They were these s'more muffins. So the event was great, but the muffins, so
you can't go wrong with s'more muffins, right?
And Jenny is the absolute best at doing that. I tracked her down the next day. I was like, this was the best muffin I've ever had. All right. So this is a podcast about technology and food, apparently.
Yes. We're foodies, I guess. So any hot topics that happening that you're aware of?
Oh, like hot takes?
Yeah.
Things that... I don't know. Do you want to talk about Sora 2 and what that is?
Yeah. So OpenAI just had their...
That's the ChatGPT company?
Yeah, the ChatGPT They had their dev day and they just released a few things. Sora 2 is their new video model. It's pretty amazing. Before this, when you would type in a prompt, something like, I'm trying to think of something like a bear dancing to music, let's say. It would just have the video, but there would be no audio.
So it would do video.
Yes.
Okay, they've been able to do video.
They've been able to do video. Then there's some issues with nuances, but now it has music. I know I did which leads to this other product that they just released, which was Cameo, which is a social media platform similar to TikTok or Instagram, but it's all AI.
So Sora 2 is used to create the videos.
Correct.
And then you're saying that there's a social media app that can take those videos and put them into the social media feed?
Yes, and the app basically, you prompt it and the prompt is Sora 2, so it plays, it creates the video through their new platform. And
Sora 2, I can't do that right from ChatGPT, correct?
No, it has to go into the Sora 2 platform.
Okay.
But it's amazing because I did a, cute little otter skateboarding with an FLCC shirt and in a parade. And you see the otter, skating and waving and going, hey, and you hear music in the background. And so
it does like ambient noise as well as like dialogue?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yep. It tries to read the prompt and figure out what to do with it. And
I'm assuming other than otters and skateboarding and you might be able to have some practical uses as well. It's not just for entertainment.
So for Cameo, I think it's more just entertainment. Sora 2, I think it'll be beneficial for and we'll get more into this later, but I think it might be really cool to do B-roll in it. I think there's some other
B-roll?
things. So in video production,
sorry, I'm a math nerd. I don't know your terms.
So in video productions, if there's an interview, let's say, and the person is talking about how they used to walk on the beach, and that's part of the story. You might not have beach footage, but now you can prompt beach footage, with subtle waves as the sun is setting. And so as he's doing his story about him walking on the beach, you have that.
So that just adds some texture and contrast to the video. So it's not just like a video of someone talking the whole time.
Yes.
That's called B-roll.
Yes.
Is B-roll dead? Has Sora put B-roll out of business?
No, no. B-roll is a general term, so we can always shoot B-roll, or now we can generate B-roll.
We can just generate it on the fly. That's cool.
Yeah. How about you? Anything that's come up that?
Yeah, there's this thing. This has nothing to do with AI, but I think it's pretty fascinating, and it's called vertical soap operas. So when you think about social media apps like TikTok, YouTube, Shorts, and Instagram Reels, they're vertical. And that's kind of changing the way we're consuming things, and you have to keep scrolling.
So when you say vertical, you mean like instead of like the regular TV, which is the horizontal format?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like holding your phone upright. You don't have to turn it to the side to watch the video.
Gotcha, yep.
And so that's this new video format. And there's companies out there, and you wouldn't know it because they don't escape their apps. They don't tend to go into, you don't encounter them naturally in TikTok.
Yeah.
But there's this huge business where there's these apps that are making vertical soap operas, and each episode is between 60 and 90 seconds because that's the typical length of a video. That's a vertical video, and they tell stories and they have actors, and it's just really well produced, and it's a little cheesy. I think one of the metrics when I did a deep dive into these, one of the metrics that they use for success is how many slaps there are per episode. So just to give you like slapping someone across the face, because it's soap opera, so there's emotions and like deceit and dead people coming back. It's just this is really wild thing, and these apps are making a killing because they're charging like $20 a month, and you get access to 3, 4, 5 different soap operas. It's just really, really fascinating. It's something to keep your eye on, and it got me thinking. Well, I wonder if I could parlay that into teaching? Like, could I make vertical soap operas or at least vertical videos for when I teach just to keep people engaged? And just yesterday, the New York Times app on my phone now has vertical video. Like, I can consume my news through the vertical videos.
So is it converted? Do you know? Is it like just taking the
Oh no, it's created for it.
Oh, see, that's good because a lot of times when they like convert it, there's a lot of content that's cropped out.
Yeah, like if there's two people in a scene and it's widescreen, then there's only one person.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's really cool. I think that there's a lot that you could do with that. And it's funny because most people are consuming through their mobile device. So that seems to be the platform that things are moving toward. The other thing that's interesting that came out with OpenAI Dev Day, which is, again, the ChatGPT.
So Dev Day is just like when they get on like the TV and they're like, we're doing this product. This is what I wrote. Okay.
It's essentially a product launch for them, but it's for their developers. So people who can program or work with whatever they're, they're pushing.
Sure.
But one of the things I got excited about was they are integrating apps into their prompt. So let's say I wanted to. Are you familiar with Canva?
Yeah, Canva's the design software. You can go and be like, make me a banner, make me a flyer, or you can do like PowerPoint type presentations.
Yeah, so you can go on and it's all web-based and you can...
it's fantastic software.
Yeah, so you can use templates and you can just build whatever you want design-wise. Well, now it's integrated into ChatGPT. So now I can type I can have a prompt that says, give me a bullet list of the 5 most interesting topics of the day, and it would give it. And then I'd say, use Canva to create a infographic regarding those 5 topics, and it will open up Canva, pop it in, and give me 4 options.
That's insane.
And then I'll be able to click on it, and it'll launch it in Canva, so I can continue to edit it in Canva if I wanted to. So I think that was really cool.
Yeah. So ChatGPT is becoming almost like an operating system. Like you'll go there to start your work and then just finish it off in other places.
You could, yep. As long as it's got a web connection. There's obviously Canva's just one of the apps, but
like I imagine Spotify, they'll be able to like understand the context of what you're doing and play like an appropriate playlist, like right within.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Your fun fact about Canva that was created by Melanie Perkins, who was a teacher and was making yearbooks, and she needed better software to make yearbooks. And create a Canva.
And that's how it came to be?
That's how it came to be.
Oh, man. I tell you, a lot of people love Canva, and it is a really great tool.
It's a fantastic tool.
But you know what was interesting? When this came out, I was trying to implement it in ChatGPT with a prompt.
Yeah.
And I said, I gave it the prompt, in Canva, do this. And at the time, it wasn't implemented yet because they just announced it.
But it hadn't rolled out to you.
Yeah, so I got a violation policy that says you're violating the ChatGPT.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I was like, what? And then I asked it. I said, but you just released this today, and then it actually went and it goes, oh, you're right. We did just release it today, but it's not implemented.
Okay.
But it was funny because then I said, well, can we try it now? And they said, it's a violate. Like it reverted back. It was like an endless loop.
That's how AI works, folks. It's the dumbest smart thing you'll ever encounter.
But since then, the good thing is it's actually been implemented. So now it's actually working correctly.
That's good. So did that make you ask, is AI a dirty word? Did it frustrate you?
That's right. And that's a good segue.
That's how this podcast episode came to fruition.
That's right. So let me ask you, what do you think? Is AI a dirty word?
I think like any other tool, it can be. It's got, certainly there's a lot of benefit. For instance, not a lot. Here's another fact. And I know nothing about nothing. I don't know why I have all these facts. You're just asking the right questions. Say, AI won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry last year.
Really?
Yeah. For protein folding, deep AlphaFold, which was a DeepMind product. DeepMind is an AI company. They had cracked the code on protein folding, which is something that's way too niche and nerdy to talk about in this podcast. But AI, there were 3 people that got the Nobel Prize for that, and one of them was a chemist, and the other 2 were the DeepMind workers who created AlphaFold to do that. So,
oh my god,
it's good for that. Right?
Hey, so there's benefits.
So it's a good word. It's not a dirty word.
So. Before we get into this a little in more detail, maybe we can talk a little bit about what are the main players in this space of artificial intelligence. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So in the biz, we call these frontier models, but you and I and everyone else in the world probably just calls them like AI chatbots or AI tools or just AI.
Yeah. So, just their platforms. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think probably the one that people know the most is ChatGPT. That was the first.
ChatGPT. Yeah.
ChatGPT. I'm sorry. Did I say GTP? It's
GTP. Yeah.
It's embarrassing. ChatGPT. It's in alphabetical order. That's how you remember it. GPT. And that was the first to market. And that's when we think of AI, typically that's what we think of. You can type in prompts and generate images, and you can generate apparently videos now.
Yeah. Pretty robust videos.
Yeah. So I think that's been first to market. People tend to rely on that the most just because it was around for so long. It came out in November of 2022. And I think it's great.
Yeah, they've been really pushing. They are really, I mean, this is what they do, whereas the other companies we're about to talk about, this is a derivative, but it's becoming a focus of what they do.
Yeah.
So I think the one that I've been hearing around the schools are going to be more like Microsoft Copilot. So because many schools and actually companies in general already have Microsoft integrated into their,
their ecosystem.
In their ecosystem, Copilot is, just something that they feel comfortable with, and it's slowly getting more and more integrated into all of their applications.
Yeah, and Microsoft is real nice. It's good software. The nice thing about Copilot, especially when you're a big company or schools, you have this like institution, so that sometimes, most of the time, when you type your prompts into AI, then that goes to those companies and they can train their data on what your conversations are. And Microsoft doesn't do that if you have the enterprise institutional licensing.
So it's locked to just that enterprise.
You get a little bit more privacy, and security.
Yeah, that's nice. And I bet you the IT departments love that.
Yeah. Yes.
Less integration.
The other half of the school, so about 50% of schools, maybe just a hair more, are using Google as opposed to Microsoft. And Google has an AI service called Gemini. Mm-hmm. And you can download the app you can download the apps for all these on your phone or your computer. Google Gemini is equivalent to ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. Like, and it has images that you can derive from text, and you can do text to video. But Google also, the Gemini AI lives in all the other software packages. So if you're in Google Slides, you can generate an image right from Google Slides. You don't need to go to ChatGPT, download an image. You can do it right there in the slides. So they thrive on their integration.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I've seen that there's a lot of different flavors of Gemini. It seems like there's Gemini for developers. Gemini has a video model as well, right?
VO3, VEO.
VEO. Oh, okay.
And actually, they just released 3.1 last night.
Did they really?
Yeah, it's awesome. And it does the same thing as Sora. It does text and ambient noise and conversations.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, these things are evolving so quick. Yeah. I'm sure when this is released, they'll be at like VO5 and
VO8.
Yeah, Sora 9. I don't know, but as far as Google goes, is it closed like Copilot for enterprise, or is it? I don't know how. You said that some of the schools have.
Yeah, I think that's something the administrator of your instance would have to work with.
Okay, I gotcha. Got ya. And then there is Meta Llama, right?
Yes, and Meta is Facebook. So there's their version.
Yeah. So they have an online, but I think the nice thing about Llama is that they're trying to keep it open source so people could actually download it. And if they have a robust system, they can run it locally. So
yeah, and it's not as hard as it sounds, but it's not like at the press of a button. But one thing I really like about Meta is they have built, especially their image generation, to creators. Like the tool set for if you want to create an image, it's not just text. It gives you a menu of options like for the size, and do you want it to be claymation? Do you want it to be like papercraft? Mm-hmm. But it also allows you to adjust what we call the temperature, and that's like how creative or imaginative it is. So you can actually adjust. Nice. Yeah, it's got some really nice development toys that anyone can use, and it's very simple to use just by going to Meta and creating.
And so that one, so they have it both online and a downloadable.
Yeah, and Meta is the only one we're talking about that doesn't even have a paid tier. Like you can just do things. All the other ones are free, but they have a paid tier to do more. But Meta doesn't even have one.
Oh, that's nice.
You just sell your soul if you work with Facebook and Meta.
And then there's Anthropic Claude, right? That's okay. And what are your thoughts on Claude?
I think Claude excels in two different arenas. One is if you're doing any type of programming, Claude is the way to go. It's better than ChatGPT's. It's better than Gemini. In fact, we have a course here in the spring. It's called, yeah, we call it vibe coding. That's what it's called when you just use AI to code. You don't need to know a lick of programming. You just use natural language. And we'll be using Claude for that.
That's very cool. So this is anybody can take this course. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't need to be computer science.
Correct. In fact, the only people who can't really take it are computer science people. So this will be a good elective
for everyone else.
Yeah. And I think Claude is also the most conversational, and it seems the most authentic. Sometimes when you're working with ChatGPT or Gemini, it seems a little stiff or a little hollow, the responses.
I agree. And I know this is really cheesy, but it's nice when you open up Claude and it says, "Hello, Paul. Good morning, Paul. Have you had your coffee today, Paul?"
Oh, really?
Like it's very like warm and inviting versus like you just go to these other prompts and they're just in your face and you're like, okay, I guess I got to type something.
Yeah, and I never thought that ChatGPT or Gemini were transactional until I started using Claude. And I was like, oh, wow, this is like way more intense of a conversation and it's way more in depth.
Yeah, and it seems to produce really, I've been really happy with the code that like for programming, what Claude can produce.
And there's one more we want to talk about, and I don't know anything about it, but I know that Adobe is in your wheelhouse. So can you tell me about Adobe Firefly?
Yeah, so Adobe Firefly is a creator-friendly AI, and what I mean by that is that they do not learn or train on anyone's copywritten material, and they don't use anything you do for their training. So you can feel confident that if you produce something with Firefly, that it's yours and you retain it. That's
an interesting approach because all these other models are taking like every piece of artwork ever in the world and using that for their training, but Adobe's doing it a little bit more ethically, would you say?
I think so. And I think that now they do have the option where you can select one of the other models.
Oh, okay.
But if you use the standard Adobe Firefly model, then you're safe is the way I equate it to as far as content creation.
Yeah. And that actually reminds me, there's kind of like three things that we should probably say about AI. One is any output from AI cannot be copywritten. That's the current law right now. Who knows what's going to happen by the time you hear this. There is some exigent circumstance. So if you have substantial human intervention, then you might be able to copyright it. One of the other things, and I think I just say this to everyone whenever I'm talking about AI, is never upload personally identifiable information like social security numbers, driver's licenses, anything that you don't want the world to see, because you never know when it's going to escape.
Yes, and that means documents that have that information on it too, right? I mean, you don't want to have that up in the ether so people can just ask those questions.
Yeah. And the last advice I like to give is that, and we've coined the term here, FLCC, co-create, don't abdicate, which means you can use AI to help you as a thought partner, but you need to review whatever the final output is before you publish it or before you use it. You need to sign off on it. You need to okay it and read it, because there's been so many cases. In fact, the summer, the Chicago Tribune, I think it was a Chicago Tribune, made a summer reading book list. And whoever did it just typed it into AI and published it and didn't read it because it made up books. Like there were a lot of stuff that
didn't exist.
No, it's super embarrassing. So you have like reputational harm that can come from abdicating to AI instead of co-creating.
That's interesting because that's equivalent to like what happened with Wikipedia. It's not a reputable resource, or it wasn't. It is now, because I think you can lock some things down. But for a while it wasn't. And so I think with a lot of these things, you just want to make sure that the content is accurate, and you want to do some additional research outside of just prompting, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting point. I think that when we look at AI, there's for creatives, it's a slippery slope as far as copyright goes. What is something that people are okay with? I just saw something on this virtual actor called Tilly Norwood. Have you heard about that?
Yeah. So tell us about Tilly Norwood. This is this is like such a fantastic story. I thought it was made up the first time I heard it.
Yeah. So if you Tilly Norwood is a fully AI generated actress, and it's run by a agency. So the agency, I think it's Group 6.
Particle 6?
Particle 6, thank you. They created this, and this fictitious actress. And technically, first of all, I want to say it's amazing that they can keep the consistency of this character. I think that's one of the things that we'll talk about.
That's been a big challenge, right?
Right. So like you can have one person and that person can be the same in all of your prompts.
Yeah, that was very frustrating when I was playing with like Sora 2 in Google VO. I wanted to do a whole story because they only generate 8-second clips, and I would want the same person to be in it, but each time the person would be a little bit different. I could never get that consistency. And so you're saying that Particle 6 has figured that out with Tilly?
Yeah, I mean, they have her in different scenes and different sequences, and she looks the same.
And the thing that it was hard for me to wrap my head around is that it's not CGI. Tilly is not a CGI person that we can give lines to and then animate like typical animation, correct?
Correct. So you're going to prompt her and she's going to, you can prompt her behavior. I mean, I don't know the behind the scenes of how they're doing her creation, but it seems like you can, you can prompt her and you can give her directions and tell her what to say, and then she'll act, and, you can give her an accent if you want. But
can you give her notes? Like after a take, can you give her notes? And
probably, I don't know.
To me, that's what the AI part is, where there's like give and take.
Right. So I think that the other thing about this is that we want to keep in mind, there's, the good and bad of this, right? So I think that when we look at this, I think there's, I know SAG-AFTRA is...
That's the union for actors.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're 100% against this.
Sure.
They don't believe in this synthetic creation. And, I agree on some extent, but I wonder if this can fall in a different genre maybe, or, there's a lot of like digital doubles, which is like if a stunt actor can't do a performance, or like, Marvel, like people don't fly, right?
Yeah.
So they create digital creations of those.
They like scan in the whole body?
Yes, a 3D scan. And it's not AI, it's all the actor knows what's happening. And maybe that's the distinction, is the actor is giving consent, to that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because they do have, I wonder what these actors sign off on, their digital likeness, because technically once that's integrated into an AI system,
they don't need you anymore.
Yeah, it's 3D. So now technically they could prompt, in the future, they'll be able to prompt these real life actors possibly.
That's wild.
I don't know, but it'll be an interesting area that I think we should look into more in the future.
Yeah.
And I know you pointed me to
Critters.
Yeah.
Tell us about Critters.
So Critters is a creation that was all AI. It's all animated. It's a documentary that they did of jungle critters. And, somebody's like, we're in the woods of such and such. And we come across, and then the spider starts talking. And it was really well done. But it was a lot of creation still. So it wasn't just prompts.
Sure, because it was scripted to an extent.
Yes, right? It was scripted. You could see that there were small sequences, but this agency worked directly with OpenAI or ChatGPT to help develop their software and, create how creators could use the software. But I want to say that this was really a great experiment in how AI can be integrated into a creative process, from storyboarding to character creation. So people like sketched out the creatures.
Sure.
And then they put it into ChatGPT, and then they said, give us variations with furry, cute, but with the sketch. And
so you just painted a portrait of, I think, how people should optimally be using AI and still have that human element. And so, like, I might not ever be able to make a CGI spider and make one talk, but I could work with AI to do it, but it would still be my vision, and I'm still overseeing the whole operation.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So let me ask you, where do you think AI, a dirty word in education? Is it, what's your thought?
Well, it depends. I mean, even today, I just read an opinion in the New York Times about how AI is making learners dumber, basically. And I don't know. I feel like we've been on this treadmill before with calculators and with Wikipedia and with computers in the classroom and different devices.
Right.
I think that it's incumbent upon us as educators to teach people how to use AI. And I don't want to use the word responsibly, but I want to say optimally. So how can you maximize your learning? You should never use AI to deprive yourself of an opportunity to learn. And as educators, we need to create the space in the classroom for them to learn. That being said, the trope in AI in education is, well, here's my essay prompt. I'm just going to dump this into ChatGPT, and then whatever it spits out, I'm going to submit as my essay.
Right.
And that happens a lot. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And there's perplexity, which is one of the, we actually didn't talk about perplexity. That's one of the models that fits in with, like, say, ChatGPT and Gemini. Perplexity has this kind of helps you do your homework for you, where you can just like upload your homework, or you can like open up in their browser because they have their own browser, and it will solve the problems for you or write the essays for you. So yes, there is a path of least resistance, and it's easier now than it has been in the past. Although the research is pretty clear of right now, the research shows that the number of instances of cheating hasn't increased. It's just the way people are cheating is kind of converging to AI. So it used to be like in college, like fraternities and sororities would have file papers of like all the old tests, or you'd pay someone to write an essay, or you could go to like check.com. And now everyone's just like, well, I'll just use ChatGPT to do it.
Right. Do you remember Cliff Notes? Was that cheating? Yeah. Like you didn't have to read the entire Romeo and Juliet. You could just get the Cliff Notes. I
mean, you're still reading and you're getting the main thing. I think what we're at the end of the day, here's the litmus test. Are you familiar with the Turing test? Do you know what the Turing test is?
Can you give me more details? I'm familiar with it. But.
Sure. So when the conversation of AI started back in the 60s, the posit was, if you were sitting in a room and there was someone else on the other side of the room, and you were writing communication down and sliding under a slit and then getting it back and sliding under a slit and getting it back, could you tell if it was a robot or a human? And so when that was called the Turing test, because if we got to a point where you could not tell that the response was human or AI, then we have AI. And I think that we could adapt that to the classroom at some point and have what I call the student Turing test. So let's say that you're teaching a class, Paul, you're teaching a new media class, and at the end of the class, maybe it's an exam, maybe it's a project, probably a project because you do an awful lot of projects in the course.
Yeah.
You sit me down and just have a conversation with me about like, what did I learn and how did I do this? And like, oh, Dave, I really liked how you did this fade. How did you do that? And if I can answer those questions and have that coherent, do you care if I used AI to do it? Do you care if I use Cliff Notes to do it? Or do you just care that I apprehended that knowledge?
Right. And I think that's a good point. I would care that you understood it. So I think that's a great point. I think that on the flip side of that,
sure,
the issue is that, they're not picking it up because they just say, well, I'll always have AI. Right. So I can always prompt. That's a common thing that I get.
It is. And I mean, I have mixed feelings. This is like a double-edged sword, but there were teachers when I was growing up, and I was probably one of them because I was a math teacher in a previous life or previous career, who, learners would be like, well, why do you need to do this? And I'd be like, well, you won't always have a calculator in your pocket. And then we all have calculators in our pocket.
Right,
so
we all have phones, right?
So I'm not so sure. I went to a presentation a few years ago. This is before AI, and someone was doing this presentation. She was from the Board of Education from a school, Hoosick Falls, which is out in almost at the Massachusetts border. And she said, 20 years ago, it used to be smart if you could name every state in their capital, or you could name every president. She's like, that's not the bar anymore. Now the bar is like, can you contextually tell me like why this president had these policies given the economic conditions?
So everything is going to be elevated because now you have more support to do more.
Yeah, you can learn. You can like engage with things a little bit more. Like there are educators out there making chatbots say you found every single letter that Abraham Lincoln ever wrote and everything he's written. You can create a chatbot that will have that conversation. So 10 years ago, all we knew about Abe Lincoln, for the most part, I mean, some scholars would know this stuff, but would be, what he was famous for. But now you can actually have a conversation with him, and you can find out how, like, his relationship with his wife. You can find out, like, what he was thinking when he was, running for president. All these things. It's just it's a wild world.
Yeah. And how about what are your thoughts about should schools or institutions completely ban, like have AI banned, or like what's your thought on that?
Well, and I don't know what the outro to this episode is going to be, but I'm sure it's going to have something like the views and expressions in this podcast don't reflect FLCC. But no. I don't think that we should be banning any AI. We're actually training learners to be functional workers and functional participants in this society, which is AI. It's you can't walk 5 steps without hearing something about AI or seeing something about AI. So if we put those AI blinders on, I don't think we're doing them any services.
Yeah, I think that learners are going to have to, and everyone in general, right, has to figure out ways that they can utilize AI in whatever they're doing. I think it's, I always equate this, the internet, when that came out, computers, it was like, oh, it's going to take away jobs. It's going to do this and that. And it's like the jobs might be shifting. Things might be changing. Yeah. But I think it's how do you use the tools, right? So I think that these are still tools. These are powerful tools, but, we have the internet now, and we do research online more than we do in the library. I think like there's a different approach.
Yeah, it really potentiates what you do. And you can if you ask 100 people how they're using AI, they'll give you 110 different answers. Like, it is different for every single person. And I'm glad to see that people are finding their pathway and learning how to like potentiate what they do and optimize what they do with AI. So that's our job as educators, to help people figure out how to use it responsibly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that, if we want to look at the other side of this, I think that there are some issues with AI. I know that there is a legislation that's coming out about chatbots, and I think that it's going to be so chatbots basically are an AI system that act as somebody else. So young people under 18 are building relationships with these bots and are harming themselves. And so I think in that regards, it is bad. And I think we need to put these rules around
who
uses those.
And there were some pretty scary cases within the last year about ChatGPT specifically in theirs. And they've made some course corrections and put guardrails. But I'm glad this conversation's happened. I'm not glad, because this is not a happy conversation to have. Right. But I'm glad that we're paying attention to it, because social media, which has been around for years, I mean, there's been an awful lot of talk about social media for the last 10 years about how harmful it is. And those companies haven't taken measures. And something bad happens with ChatGPT, and the next day they've already put some guardrails in. So I'm optimistic about this.
Yes.
And I do want to say, while we're talking about this, there are some environmental concerns about the energy consumption in the water. There's some labor concerns about using people in countries in the global south to do all our filtering. That hasn't been so good. There's been a lot of concern about, we're paying developers. Meta, Facebook, is literally paying $100 million for AI developers. So there's an inequity in wages. So there are some bad sides to it. And I think a great book, if you want to read more about those, is called The Empire of AI by Karen Howe. It's just a fascinating book that looks at the dark side of AI.
That's good. And I think you need both perspectives. Yeah. I think that it's important to understand that AI can be used, in a negative way, and it can be used in a positive way. I know we'll get into it in a minute, but there's some techniques that AI can help someone learn or help with a situation. And then there's, like you said, people just putting in a prompt and just trying to get an essay out of it. Yeah. And, that's no bueno, right?
No, I mean, at that point, you're just like a cog in a machine. You're like, I'm going to take this thing from over here, put it in this other thing, and then put the response in this third thing.
Yes, exactly. And, I think that as far as training goes, I think that how would you see it? Put it in how I could use AI to benefit me in something that I might not be familiar with. So like if I'm not familiar with math or chemistry, how might I approach it?
So if you're a learner in a class, say a chemistry class, most of these AI tools, ChatGPT and Gemini specifically, have a button that you press called learning mode. And so that cues the AI to not give you the answers, not just reveal the answers, but use the Socratic method and kind of like ask you questions and tease it out of you. So we'll ask you, well, do you know this thing? And you're like, well, yeah, I know that. And then we'll be like, well, what do you think would happen if you did this other thing? And it'll be like, oh. And then, so I think that's a great way to do it.
So it's like quickly creating note cards for you, and so you can flashcards.
It can. They can design flashcards, but they can also just have a conversation with you and get you to kind of reconsider what you know, and then ask you to make predictions, and then ask. So it's like having
more conversational.
Yeah, it's like if I was a learner in your class and I asked you a question, you'd be like, well, I'm not going to tell you the answer, but I'll point you in the right direction, and I'll like ask you questions, like leading questions. So that's one of the easier ways you can do it. The other way is ChatGPT published something called, I think, like 100 prompts, 100 ways college students are using ChatGPT. And some of those prompts in there are wild. You can go to the website, you can Google it. It's free. You can just look at them, and it's wild because they have like prompts that you might not even think about. So for instance, let's say I was writing an essay. I might write the essay and load it into ChatGPT and say, please read this and ask me 5 questions that identify blind spots that I've missed. And then I'm becoming a better writer because I'm getting a more macroscopic view of a particular topic.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I would recommend to every learner that they look at that. And if you're an educator, point all your learners to it and have webinars and seminars and just like tell people like, here's 100 free ways that you can be a responsible learner.
So 100 ways college students are using ChatGPT. Is that what you would search?
Yes, that's what I would search.
All right. Very cool. And how are you using it in the classroom? Out of curiosity, are you using it yet? Are you integrating it? I know you mentioned vibe coding.
Vibe coding, CSC 295, 2 o'clock to 3:20, Tuesdays and Thursdays in the spring semester. Yeah, right now, I think a lot of people are doing it in awareness and just saying, saying, here's what you can do with AI in the class and make a list. And here's what you can't do. Like, I want to draw a line, because I think learners are confused because every educator has different rules for how you can engage. So I think you just need to be very clear with that and remind them, and sometimes show people. And sometimes learners don't even want to use AI. Part of that anxiety is because they don't want to get busted for like plagiarism or like student code of conduct issues. So it really is important for us to kind of work with our learners to figure out the best pathway, because the way your learners are going to use it is way different than the way my learners are going to use it. Right.
And I think that I know I've had conversations with some students, and they're just against using AI just for reasons of like power consumption and and so I try to give them alternatives, but I do tell them that, this is something that is going to be like, it's like saying that I'm never going to use the internet
or Photoshop. Like anyone that's in your classes are going to be using AI.
Right. Exactly. And I think that, but at the same time, I'm against foundational topics using AI. Like, they need to understand the foundation of coding to understand relationships, and they can't just right off the bat. I know you're doing vibe coding, and I know it's going to be different, but
and actually the way I arrived at that is when AI first came out, I was like, no, you absolutely may not use AI. And then over winter break, I was talking to some of my friends who they're in software development, and they're like, when we hire people, we don't give a crap how they do it. We just want it done. So the next semester, I was like, everyone can use AI for everything. And then about 2/3 of the way through the semester, I started getting all these emails and phone calls, and it was on the same lab, which happened to be AI proof. It wasn't designed that way.
Yeah.
AI just wasn't there yet. And I was like, oh, you just have to write a loop. And they're like, well, what's a loop? I was like, oh no, I've done something bad. And it became clear that people were over relying on it. So now where I'm at is I'll say to the learners, listen, for weeks 1 through 3, you may not use AI. And weeks 4 through 6, I'm going to show you how you can use AI. Like, if you're writing a program and you're stuck, you can upload the code, or you can ask it questions.
Yeah.
And then once we get through the fundamentals, like all the things, like the loops, the arrays, those are all like the complicated things. But once you have that tool set for the last 3 or 4 weeks in the semester, I want to see what you can do. Because if AI gets you into a hole that you can't get yourself out of because you haven't learned those fundamentals, well, that's bad. But now that you have those, you can now navigate. If AI does something and you don't know what's going on, you can at least navigate it and interrogate it with your skill set.
Yes. Yep. I like that. And I think that's a approach that I take too with my programming. I think that for students that are learning, they actually use it as a learning tool, so they can ask questions regarding how would I do a grid format for layout or whatever, and it'll give them instructions. But if they're just copying and pasting code just directly, not understanding what's happening, then they're missing the whole point of it, because they really do need to understand what's happening with the code.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's some responsible models like that are out there, and it really is kind of course dependent or future dependent.
Yeah, and I know we're just scratching the topics on all this stuff, but I think that's all the time we have today. My name is Paul Engin.
And I'm Dave Ghidiu. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
And share it with a friend or colleague. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and thanks for looking through the Immersive Lens with us.
This episode was engineered by Jeff Kidd or Hugh Laird. Wait, this episode was engineered by Jeff Kidd and Hugh Laird.
Yeah, that's right. They're both here. Recorded at Finger Lakes Community College Podcast Studios, located in beautiful Canandaigua, New York, in the heart of Finger Lakes region, offering more than 55 degrees, certificates, micro-credentials, and workforce training programs.
Thank you to Public Relations and Communications, Marketing, and the FLX AI Hub.
Eager to delve into passion? Discover exciting immersive opportunities at www.flcc.edu.
As part of our mission at FLCC, we are committed to making education accessible, innovative, and aligned with the needs of both students and employers.
The views expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts, guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official position of Finger Lakes Community College.
Music by Den from Pixabay.
This is the Immersive Lens.
Would have been nice. Okay. I was just going to say it would have been nice.
Thanks, Jeff.